Ooh.
And astonishing goal. Oxlade-Chamberlain! Oh! What a stormer! Matheson! Oh, he scored! What a moment for this 16-year-old schoolboy!
Now, who else better to talk to about the return of the Carabao Cup than a man who's won the competition with both Chelsea and Liverpool? That man is, of course, former England right-back Glen Johnson. Glenn, thanks for talking to us, first of all. How excited are you to see football back again, first of all, especially in these strange times?
Yeah, well, like everybody, every football fan, you've been desperate for things to try and get back to some form of normality. So, yeah, with the football back on and, slowly making positive steps in terms of getting some fans back into the stadiums, then it's all steps in the right direction.
This competition is famed for giving young England stars their chance as well. How important is that you experience first-team football from a young age as well? Because this competition gives you the opportunity to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And like I say, I think it's important because, some young kids coming through, they can be so wrapped up in their age group or in their sort of familiar circle that they don't realise what the professional game is actually about. So to take them out of that comfort zone and put them into a group of players that they don't know or at a level that they're not used to, then that's going to test the players and test them mentally as well as physically. So and a competition like this that give them the opportunity to do it so early, it's fantastic. So yeah, it's win-win on many occasions.
It was your first trophy as well as a player, if I'm right in saying. A memorable final as well, as it was Jose Mourinho's first trophy at Chelsea. What are your memories of that experience? Victory must have been so good at such a young age for you.
Yeah, it is. And obviously, as you know, with the final being in around February, that you can obviously have a trophy under your belt before the league's even finished. So, and to be fair, Mourinho approached it that way. He was like, look, we've got approximately 10 games. You win 10 games, you get your first medal, and then we're off and running. And that was his primary target. But yeah, like I say, I think we went 1-0 down after a couple of minutes and I started on the bench. Obviously, I remember with Didier scoring the sort of extra time winner or last minute winner. But yes, it's a great cup. And look, any trophy you win as a young kid is amazing.
You mentioned there it being in mid-season. How important can that be as well? We've seen with Manchester City over recent years, not last season, but the previous years, providing that confidence to go on and win things at the end of the season as well.
Yeah, well, I think winning's everything. That's what we do it for. For a team that hasn't won anything together at that certain time, whether it be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, or whatever, to win a trophy, don't matter what trophy it is, but to win a trophy with your teammates, that just kickstarts everything. And also because there's not always everybody in the team or squad that's won something. So to get everybody off and running together, it just builds momentum. And then with the players that like City and Chelsea and Liverpool have, they can be unstoppable.
You've talked about Jose's approach to that 2005 final, quite famous as well when he did shush the Liverpool fans at the time. What are your memories of that? Were you on the pitch at the time? Could you remember seeing it?
Well, I didn't see him shushing the fans until like the next day, But yeah, I was obviously on the pitch, busy doing our thing with the lads and running around like a crazy man celebrating. But no, look, obviously I remember all the finals fondly and like I say, lucky enough to have won it twice with Chelsea and Liverpool, funny enough.
Yeah, it's a typical Mourinho, that though, isn't it, in that process? But how much did it mean, to the team as well, to Chelsea as a whole? Because it was that first trophy of the Abramovich era. Yeah,
well, Roman obviously didn't buy the club and spend the money he spent on players to not win. And I think it was not pressure off, so to speak, but almost like a realisation that, we can do this, Not that we ever doubted ourselves, but it's just, there's so much hype on it because the players Roman and Mourinho were signing was clearly big-name players. So the pressure was on because if they didn't win something or we didn't win something, then of course, you know what it's like, you'll have the whole world on top of you. So I think it was almost like, right, come on now, that's a start of it, and now let's see how far we can take it.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 7 years later you won the competition, this time at Wembley with Liverpool. Just describe the feeling of a cup final day like that, especially, as I say, at Wembley, the first final, of course, at the Millennium Stadium.
Yeah, well, any cup final, it's all about the week leading up to it. It's like people that you haven't heard from for a while are texting you. Everyone comes out of woodwork. Anyone that's associated with football tunes in for the game, whether they're a mutual fan or not. So yeah, it's just the whole build-up, and then of course, on the day of the game, you try and put all of that, as hard as it is, you try and put all that behind you and focus on the game. But of course, you know about the fuss surrounding it because like you say, any final's big.
An incredible final it was as well, wasn't it? If I'm right in remembering, against Cardiff City. How much tension was there around the club to win that game as well? Because obviously you were against such an underdog in a team that were in the division below.
Obviously, without us being arrogant before the game, we knew we was the better side. But in cup football doesn't work like that. You know, you have to take it as if you're playing the best team in the world, and sometimes that's harder to do than others. And obviously, they know they've kind of got a shot to nothing in terms of not expecting to win, so the pressure's off. And in a cup final, when any team sits back, they're hard to break down. And everyone performs out of their skin because, like we keep saying, it's a cup final. So there's no easy games in a final. We was the better side on paper. We probably didn't perform like it. But we managed to get the job done, and no one remembers the performance. They just remember who wins.
And it wasn't actually the best time for the club either, was it, in terms of performance? But how much did it mean to Liverpool to win a trophy at that point? Because, like I said, I think it was Kenny Dalglish's only trophy back at the club as well. So it must have meant a lot to, not just to you, but the people around the club.
Yeah, no, it's massive. And like I say, at the time, the club as a whole was struggling, with the battle between the owners, and we'd sold 3 or 4 of our best players and didn't replace them at all. So the squad was not a Liverpool squad, shall we say. But don't get me wrong, we still had a good, 11, and we was good enough to clearly get to the final. But the league that year obviously wasn't great. But yeah, like you say, any time you get to a final, whether the club's struggling or not, they're fond memories.
And looking ahead to this season, who do you see as the teams to beat in the competition, and who could be the surprise package?
Well, obviously taking out the big guns, somebody like Leicester, I'd say. Brendan's as we all know, the understudy of Mourinho, and I'm pretty sure he would love to, get a trophy himself. And the thing is, I think if people take this competition seriously from the beginning, you have every chance. And then you only need a little bit of luck towards the end that a few of the big guns get drawn against each other. And then before you know it, you could find yourself in a semi-final.
Well, it's been fascinating talking to you, Glenn. Thanks for your time, and enjoy the golf later today.
I will, mate. Top man.